Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And the brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's a hump day. Hey, Drew, I love you. My son, Drew.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Every Wednesday now.
It's hump day.
He knows it's hump day.
Hump day.
And he loves to go, hump day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
So, hey, buddy, I love you. Hope you're having a great day.
It's hump day.
It is a hump day.
Hump day.
Hey, you know what? I'm a doting father, and I get that right to be whatever I want to. So think what you will of me, but anybody else, you know you do the same thing. Brain, would you do the same thing?
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely. Paul, would you do, well, you're not a dad, but Paul, would you do the same thing?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Larry Holder in
Mike. What day is it,
15
Mike?
minutes.
It's hump day.
Jonathan Wells, former Ohio State running back, 1 hour from right now.
Hump day.
Chandler Rome of the Houston Chronicle. He'll join us at 5 o'clock.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Yeah, we'll talk about moron baseball players throwing at other people's heads.
It's hump day.
The unwritten rules of baseball.
Hump day.
Dorks.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Throwing baseballs at people's head.
It's hump day.
Bunch of idiots.
Hump day.
Oh, he bat flipped on me after he hit a homer.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Oh, he stole signs.
It's hump day.
You all steal signs, you ninny. Shut up.
Day.
Shut up.
Hump day.
Ninny.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
What's up, everybody on the third floor?
It's hump day.
It's so fun. All right. Let's get into it here. Hey, look, somebody actually wore a mask. Hey, look at that. Yay, all right. Idiots.
Did that just happen?
I'm so mad. That somebody else hump day on Wednesday. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to throw what is this stuff called?
Silly string.
Silly string.
The fact that they had silly string at the ready,
Why did they have silly string?
I don't know. It's not a school fair.
That was TJ, Gordy. Who else was there?
All I saw
Is
was
that
TJ
Besh?
Gordy. Probably.
And they have wiffle balls. Literally have wiffle balls.
I understand the wiffle balls. I don't understand the silly
How do you understand the wiffle balls?
Because I saw them on Rosher's shelf earlier.
Why? There's a lot of them.
Well, they've got a bunch of Marucci wiffle bats down the hall, too.
Found one. If you're not watching us on CST or YouTube, you just missed an ambush. The third floor, they get annoyed with me every Wednesday because I do the hump day thing.
Hump day.
Yeah, and I yell real loud. And this is a sales floor. On the sales floor, they're all, well, they should be working, but it's 3 o'clock on a Wednesday, and they're all just here.
Brings up another good question, doesn't it?
Yeah, right? How about that? Stay hot, Gordy, TJ. All right. All right, let's get into it here. Today, Wednesday, the last Wednesday of July. Last Wednesday of July is typically when the LSU football coach appears at the Baton Rouge Rotary Club, and this is generally the last public media availability or public availability for the football coach before fall camp starts. This has obviously been a bit of an outlier and an atypical year, but Ed Orgeron was at the Rotary Club today virtually. So they had a virtual Rotary meeting, and he spent that requisite time with Rotary and went through a lot of things. Some of this you have heard as of right now. Other things might still be new. Can we start with 19, Brain? Ed Orgeron obviously asked about the season, the start of the season, and he's answered this question a bajillion times, and he answered it again today.
What about the season? Well, here's our mindset. Obviously, that's out of my control. I know it's in our control, is that we're going to prepare. We're preparing that we're going to kick off September 5th, and I'm going to have our team ready. We're not going to blink, and we're not going to change our mindset. If they move it back, if they change it, who cares? It doesn't matter. You call us at midnight, we'll go play in the pasture. The mindset of our football team, I think we have tremendous leadership. Obviously, we've been through some things here. We win the national championship. The COVID hits, several outside factors came into play. We had to have team meetings. It brought us closer. We had a great leadership. Our guys have not blinked. I think they've worked very hard. They're prepared, and we're ready to go.
No one has blinked. Their eyes are probably very dry because no one has blinked. But they're focused on the season. Ed Orgeron has been very consistent with that message, and I think it's obviously right. Do what you can do. Control what you can control, which is get ready for the season. Now, Ed Orgeron was asked about what's basically happened since they got back, the players and all got back to campus after the long quarantine away from everybody.
We said, this is the hand we dealt with, and we're not going to blink. Our guys came back. Tommy Moffitt has had 6 weeks with them. They're in tremendous shape right now. We have a couple of guys that are overweight, but we're going to get it down on them. And I think that our team right now is about ready to play, to be honest with you.
I swear I didn't know he was going to say we haven't blinked, like right up. You did?
I did. I cut this up earlier.
I know you cut the audio, but I didn't know he was going to say that right off the shoot in that answer. Let's try another one. Let's play number 5. This is Ed Orgeron talking about Scott Linehan and Steve Ensminger. Did they blink?
We're really excited about Scott Linehan. Joe Brady did a fantastic job for it, but let me make sure everybody knows this. Steve Ensminger led this offense. Now, Joe Brady taught us the spread offense, but Steve Ensminger led this offense and called about 70% of the play. So we have the same offense. We have Steve, and what a tremendous job he did last year. Scott Linehan, who has a lot of experience in the NFL, calling plays in the red zone, calling plays in 2 minutes, will help Steve out. He's brought a lot to us. They work tremendously together. Steve's here at 6 o'clock every morning, leaves at 10 o'clock at night. I think that our coaching staff right now is all operating on all cylinders, and I'm so excited about it.
We're going to let you hear much more from Ed Orgeron throughout the show today. At the Rotary meeting, he talked about his new analysts. He did talk about the quarterbacks, the O-line, position-by-position breakdown. He talked about recruiting amid the pandemic. A lot of these things you might have heard, but also talked about some of the new issues that have popped up, including handling COVID protocols, but also players opting out potentially. So you'll hear a lot from Ed Orgeron throughout the show today as we'll revisit that and kind of sprinkle it in throughout as we have a lot to talk about. Larry Holder is going to join us in 7 minutes from right now. Sean Payton met with the media today. Last evening, it was Mickey Loomis. The Saints are going through COVID testing throughout the day today and throughout this week, actually, before physicals Friday, Saturday, and then hopefully on the practice field on Sunday or Monday. So we'll get to some of that here shortly. Another bit of news today from LSU is that they announced that they are going to mobile ticketing for the entirety of the football season. So this is not unexpected, and honestly, I think it's 100% the right decision. So basically, there will be no paper tickets this year at all. LSU is not going to print you paper tickets. They're working together with an application which is called, oh man, I had it here. My apologies. I had it right in front of me. My Account 2.0. So ticket holders can access, transfer, resell their tickets through an interface called My Account 2.0. You can get all the info at lsusports.net there. But a couple of things to keep in mind why this is important. Number one, first and foremost, it creates a contactless experience, right? Where if you're the game goer, you're the fan, you don't have to have a physical interaction with a ticket taker. Everything's mobile. They can scan your device. That's it. That's one. Two, regardless of capacity, this allows LSU to move swiftly if they have to reassign seats. So think of it this way. University of Texas has said they're going to be at 50% capacity at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium. Ohio State has said 20% capacity at the Horseshoe this year. Whatever it is for LSU, and it's also possible, remember we had this conversation with Stephanie Remp a few weeks ago, that just hypothetically, let's say in a month, 2 months, 3 months, things move better and we move through phase 3, perhaps you can go from 20% or 25% to 50%, and you can have more fans in the stadium. Well, if that's the case, then you're going to have to reassign seats based on distancing protocols. So this allows for that very easily. It's unlikely that season ticket holders are all that, well, it's impossible to think all season ticket holders are going to be in their exact seats this year. It's impossible to think that until and unless things open up to 100% capacity, which may not happen this year. And if it doesn't, then spacing and social distancing has to be implemented. It's got to factor in based on, seating has to factor in based on those distancing principles. It's unlikely that you're going to be sitting in your exact seat. So this allows LSU to move swiftly, even if you see capacities and percentages increase throughout the season. And the other thing, obviously, and this is a lesser one, but you're also eliminating printing costs. I mean, right now you're looking at an athletic department that has to budget, that's looking for places to cut. I'm not saying that's why you do this, and there's going to be a startup cost of having to go to all the ticket scanners, or maybe they have all of those ticket scanners already, that will be compatible with the mobile app. But either way, the point is you're going to reduce that cost of having to print 100,000 tickets for 7 home games. So, and then mail them all out. So that cost is eliminated as well. So for all these reasons, it makes a lot of sense. And if you don't have a smartphone, let's say maybe you have a parent or a grandparent that goes to the games, whoever is with them, if that person has a smartphone, they could access the digital ticket. So it's a smart thing. We saw Missouri already do this. LSU's announced it now, and others are certainly going to follow. But LSU tickets will be all mobile this fall at Tiger Stadium. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Of course, the Saints are getting set to open up training camp. They reported, the entire team, veterans reported yesterday. So they're going through COVID testing right now and will throughout the remainder of this week. Physicals later this week, and then they'll be on the practice field. Larry Holder is going to join us next. Mickey Loomis yesterday, Sean Payton today. What do we need to know about what the Saints brass has said? We'll find out next on AFR.
AFR.
Think real estate? Think Darren James. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. If you are buying a home, Darren James. If you are thinking about selling your home, call Darren James. Commercial or residential, it's Darren James at agent225.com. Agent225.com. Do you realize the average realtor spends a couple $100 a month on marketing? Not Darren James. Darren spends thousands of dollars every single month marketing his listings, your listings. Here's one on Carter Cemetery Road in Springfield for $349,900. It doesn't matter if your house is a $350,000 house, a $1 million house, a $50,000 house. Darren has a way of making you feel like you are his only client, and he gets results. On the Inc. 1000 list of the fastest growing companies in America, named one of the top 1% of realtors in America, you need to sell your home. Call the realtor that sells more homes than anyone. Call Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com for Darren James.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. Start your virtual visit today at Auctioner Health.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
This is always a tough question. You guys always ask these questions about contracts, and I always say, look, I don't like discussing that. That's really, between the team and the player until we're ready to announce something.
Mickey Loomis, when he met with the media last evening, was asked about Alvin Kamara's contract. He was evasive, as you would expect Mickey Loomis would be. But someone who's never evasive is Larry Holder, because I make him answer all these questions truthfully. Larry's good enough to join us, theathletic.com/New Orleans. Larry, thanks for the time. How are you?
I think I'm doing okay, but I don't think I'm going to want to talk about that. That's between me and myself, so I'm going to evade that question. Thanks.
Understood. Are you in the middle of a toilet bowl?
I am not in the middle of a toilet bowl, so I will answer that affirmatively.
Okay.
No, I'm not in a toilet bowl.
I mean, I heard a swishing, swirling sound there. It sounded like you were in a toilet bowl.
Well, I am not at my house, so maybe I'm actually sort of out in commerce. So maybe that's it.
Wear your mask and wash your hands and all that stuff, right? That's what everybody's telling everybody to do. Hey, let's start with Alvin Kamara. Do you think there's precedent to suggest that would get done before camp?
Well, there's precedent to suggest it, but for it to happen, I think part of the hindrance there is going to be that the cap, we don't know exactly how it's going to go the next couple of years, how high it's going to go after this season, just because of the way that the NFL is going to structure it with the potential of loss of revenue this year. And so they're still sorting that out, even though Mickey Loomis did say that he doesn't feel like any of that stuff would prohibit the Saints from trying to do as much as business as usual. You know how much they do the salary cap algebra better than most, if not every team, because they just kick the can down the road every year. But I do feel like that the Saints do want to pay Alvin Kamara. Now, do they want to go into the Christian McCaffrey, Zeke Elliott range? Probably not. But do I think he deserves to go a little bit below that? Yes, I do. So there's probably going to be some butting of the heads. And, yeah, it's funny that Mickey Loomis, of course, even outside of the soundbite you gave, he was just thinking about, of course, how much, I hate talking about this. And it was my colleague, Catherine Terrell, who actually asked the question. And so it became kind of a joke in that yeah, why are you even asking me that? You know what my answer is going to be.
Right. I want to cover a lot of ground. What about the opt-outs? Reaction to that, and how big of a deal is this for New Orleans?
I don't think it's that big of a deal. Look, you saw the two players who opted out. It was Jason Vanderland and Cole Wick. And color me skeptical, but in some cases, players who probably won't make the team may see this as an easy payday.
Mm-hmm.
I can see where there are medical concerns, this, that, and the other, but it's different when you see Jason Vanderland and Cole Wick do it as opposed to very notable names in New England do it, and Eddie Goldman with the Bears. These are players of different stature, and they don't need the money, so they're not just bailing out to collect a paycheck. They're taking a massive pay cut to do it. So, color me skeptical in some of that. But look, both Sean and Mickey were both asked about that. As far as do they expect other players to do it, and they really they didn't know how to answer it because they don't know. I mean, it could happen at any point in time, but here's the kicker that people need to understand. If you opt out, you're out. You cannot come back in 2020. That is a decision that is, once it's done, it's final. It's like the old injured reserve rule. Once you're there, you're there. But, obviously the IR has some different rules now. But, yeah, once you opt out, you're done for the year.
Larry Holder's with us, theathletic.com/New Orleans. He's on Twitter at Larry Holder. Be sure to give him a follow. What else last night from Mickey Loomis struck you that people need to know?
Oh, boy. Well, I'm trying to sift through Mickey again because we got Sean earlier today. Look, I think from Mickey's standpoint, maybe the Kamara thing, even though we know that that's something that he would not discuss. But as far as unknown, I think it's a lot of unknown. Like, he was asked questions, and some of the things he couldn't answer because he really did not know the answers to. And I think that is a big element of where we're going here as far as rules can change, procedures can change. And I know people don't want to talk. People at this point in time want to probably talk about what's going on the field. They'd rather us talk about Kamara's contract than COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such a big thing, so much so where today Sean Payton says, look, this is the antithesis of a training camp. This is not a training camp. Don't even call it that. Just call it a preseason because you cannot have the same sort of workouts, the same sort of evaluation, as far as that goes. So to me, that's my, and I'm going to pivot, but my biggest takeaway from Sean today was that he admitted, look, he would not be surprised at all if there was some sort of disruption of play. And Mickey Loomis didn't want to go that far, but Sean Payton did go that far. A lot of the national reporters were kind of retweeting that and taking that because Payton was open about it.
Let's elaborate a little more on that. Payton, and I got your tweet up here about Sean Payton saying he would not be surprised if NFL games are suspended. We also saw that there are partitions in the locker and all that. But let's step away for a moment, if we could, from the COVID stuff, because I think at this point everyone understands what it is. Like, there's going to be positive tests. There's always uncertainty. But it feels like the coaches and players are trying to move forward with football and let what may come. So what about on the field? Like, obviously people are going to want to know what's going to happen with Cesar Ruiz. What did Sean Payton say?
Yeah, look, I asked him specifically about that, what his approach would be with Ruiz and McCoy, and he said, look, he's going to rotate those guys at center and guard, and that's something I absolutely anticipated. Look, is this something that I was the first to start talking about back at the Combine, where they felt like they could move Eric McCoy to guard, and if they draft or acquire a center, they would do so. And look, I think it's something that Sean Payton said, look, he's going to evaluate what they do in practice, this, that, and the other. And it's definitely going to be different because you're not going to have the sample size of snaps to evaluate if you want to keep McCoy at center or have Ruiz play center. And then obviously the other person would play guard. And so, that is something that I know a lot of us are going to be looking at because of the way the middle of the offensive line played last year and the wonderment over the first-round pick playing right away as opposed to their first pick last year if he's going to be moved to a different position.
What about the players to whom they will be snapping the ball? How are they going to manage rotating these quarterbacks?
Sean Payton did say today that they are not worried about, say, a rep count for Drew Brees, that especially the fact that we haven't done as many and will have as many this offseason, that doesn't bother him. He is more worried about that later in the season, though. He definitely admitted that. So as the season goes, scale back Drew Brees' reps at practice because he's 41 years old. But as far as with Jameis Winston, I asked Mickey Loomis about it yesterday, and I know the question was asked to Sean Payton today. Just going to evaluate that position, and that if they're kind of not upset but disappointed that they won't be able to see as much of Jameis as they thought, and so Mickey Loomis kind of diverted the answer because I don't know why. That was like a layup question. Of course, you want to see him play, but I do think that is going to be hindered there. And I'm still under the impression that Jameis Winston is your number 2, just like Teddy Bridgewater was last year. And I'd be shocked if anything changed outside of that.
A couple more minutes here with Larry Holder, theathletic.com/New Orleans. You can get him on Twitter at Larry Holder. I know you and Kat Terrell had dueling 53-man roster projections because these are just so fun to do this time of year. What was your hardest decision you had to make?
I think wide receiver was a really hard discussion just because outside of the top 2, and then you throw in Traquan Smith, you just assume he's going to be on the roster, and you count Deontay Harris there, but everybody else is just a crapshoot. I also think that you could run into maybe, say, a surprise cut, as in what if someone like Anthony Chickalo, you like him more than Craig Robertson, and then he's cut. And so, I think part of that, offensive line too. I think I really like Calvin Throckmorton, but he's an undrafted rookie. You haven't seen him in your system. I mean, would he beat out players like Cameron Tom or Will Clapp? And so I think that's kind of a tough call there too. And so, it's not a lot of frontline stuff. We're to the point where it's a lot of backline stuff. And I also left Tommy Stevens off my roster. I thought that you could probably leave him be, and then he could come back in a practice squad mode. Or if you do keep him and you keep him 2 days into after cuts, then you cut him and you kind of circle him back into a practice squad. But, I know it's a 7th round pick in the Panthers storyline, but, I could see the Saints still letting him walk and then come back later as a practice squad guy.
Honestly, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was surprised when I asked you the question, what was your toughest cut, that you didn't go to the Stevens route because you didn't have him on there. So I want you to elaborate, though, a little more, if you would, on the whole Panthers storyline, the idea that you traded back into the draft, essentially 2 picks to get Stevens to keep him away from Carolina, and if you cut him, Carolina could just sign him.
Part of that is pettiness, for sure. Sean Payton trying to stick it to Joe Brady. That is certainly a thing. I think that happened. And we're not talking you're jumping ahead. We're not talking about the Chiefs jumping ahead of the Saints to draft Patrick Mahomes because the Chiefs knew that the Saints really liked Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we're talking about a 7th round guy. So I'm not investing a lot of that. I've seen 7th round picks, 6th round picks, 5th round picks, 4th round picks not make rosters. So I am not going to be like, oh my gosh, they gave up an arm and a leg for him. So I've got to see it to believe it with him. And so, if you cut him and you lose a 7th round guy, so be it.
And then Joe Brady could be like, yep, you have 2 picks and we still got him anyway.
Well, Joe Brady still is certainly not Sean Payton. So I think we'll see it that way.
No argument here, man. I don't think the guy's going to – hey, Larry, I agree with you. How do you have a spot for Tommy Stevens? I don't see it. I mean, it's a it's a good idea in theory, behind, like as the next Taysom Hill sort of thing, but there's going to be another one of these guys next year. I mean, just get the one next year sort of thing. I digress. All right, Larry Holder, theathletic.com/New Orleans. He's on Twitter at Larry Holder. Saints camp is upon us. Make sure you're following Larry's work for all the latest there. Thanks, man. We appreciate you.
Bye, Mac. Talk to you again soon, buddy.
All right, be well. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Hump Day Show is brought to you by Pluckers. When we come back, we'll go around the SEC and then some Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro in about 15 minutes. Stay here.
AFR.
Love telling you about Ichiban, Essen near Perkins, Airline Highway in Gonzales. Tell you every day, make tonight an Ichiban night. But remember, Ichiban's open for lunch as well. So if you're back at work and you need lunch on a weekday, get on by Ichiban. Either location, Essen near Perkins or Airline Highway in Gonzales. The Gonzales location, by the way, if you're going south on Airline Highway, you pass Highway 44. It's about a mile on the right. You can't miss it. Giant sign. Anyway, either location, they can get you in and out for lunch in 45 minutes. So if you got an hour for lunch, get by Ichiban. They can get you in there. I mean, from the time you walk in the door to sit, order, eat, pay, out, 45 minutes. They can do that for you at lunch. Or you can always carry out. Either location, Essen near Perkins or Airline Highway in Gonzales. You can place your order online at ichibanbr.com. ichibanbr.com for the Essen Lane location, and they can have a contactless experience for carryout for you where they can bring the order out to your vehicle. It's at Ichiban. Voted by you the best sushi and the best of 225. It's Ichiban.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Jani-King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Jani-King, the king of clean.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I'm glad you're with us here on a hump day, rolling along. Earlier today, the Big 12 announced that they're having a virtual media day. They were the first to cancel their proper media day and have now announced, and the first to announce, that they will go to a virtual media day. So this is going to happen on August the 3rd. They announced it via Twitter earlier today. So the Big 12 Media Day virtually will happen from 9 a.m. to 3:30 on August the 3rd. And it'll all the head coaches, media sessions, etc. So they, I'm curious if there'll be a little bit of a trendsetter here. But the thing that's abundantly clear is that the Big 12 and the SEC are the two conferences that are most in lockstep with their commitment to play a full season, to play on time, with fans in the stands. And it's interesting because the Big 12 is, of the Power Five, really the weakest conference. And I say that with a bit of a caveat because it has the wealthiest school in the University of Texas. But without Texas and Oklahoma and their commitment to the Big 12 when realignment happened, the Big 12 wouldn't exist anymore, just candidly. So it is interesting to see such a power play from the Big 12 boldly moving forward the way they are. I mean, Oklahoma is the team that proceeded with the August 29th date to get the waiver to move up. Now the NCAA has granted a blanket waiver. The University of Texas, their athletic director, Chris Del Conte, sent out an email to season ticket holders advocating for 50% announcing 50% capacity at their stadiums. The University of Kansas has replaced an opponent from New Hampshire, the Colonial Athletic Association or Conference, which has suspended its season or postponed its season to the spring. So the Big 12, in many respects, have been right there in lockstep with the SEC, moving forward and being the most progressive. This is another indicator here. So Big 12 Virtual Media Day, August the 3rd. They certainly appear as though they're planning to move forward with a full season, and they're trucking on. We'll see if other leagues follow. Speaking of the Big 12, I mentioned the University of Texas. File this one away, and this is going to be interesting to watch. So last week, Texas Athletic Director Chris Del Conte announced that they were going to allow 50% capacity at Texas games. Now, that's in line with the Texas state law right now, which is allowing 50% capacity at venues like restaurants and things like that. Well, the Travis County, which is where Austin is in Travis County, Texas, the Travis County Interim Health Authority, Dr. Mark Escott, said that it's difficult to imagine allowing a crowd of any size to watch a game, and said he was, quote, caught a little off guard, end quote, by Texas's announcement that it planned to allow 50%. The flip side of it is, even post that word from the Travis County Interim Health Authority, Texas officials are saying the 50% limit is currently allowed under statewide rules. So they're going, what's the problem? The reason this is interesting, and I don't know who's going to win. I'm not involved in Texas politics, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there, and I don't care to predict. But it is going to be interesting because what is crystallizing, right, is that this is going to be not only a state-by-state, but school-by-school decision. Like, I don't think you're going to have a unilateral announcement. Well, I know you won't have a unilateral announcement across college football about attendance or anything like that governs all of the Power Five. But I don't even think you're going to have that decision by conference. I mean, it's entirely plausible that Vanderbilt in the state of Tennessee and Knoxville, if they're further along through all of their protocols, that they could allow more people into Neyland than LSU could into Tiger Stadium, and that wouldn't surprise me. It's going to be not only a state-by-state, but a school-by-school decision. So we'll keep an eye. Guys, the Texas officials kind of have a point. Like, why would you allow 50% capacity at restaurants? Like, just blanketly, right? What if one restaurant has a capacity of 400 and another has a capacity of 60. You're saying it's okay to have 200 in this restaurant and only 30 here? I mean, if you're following social distancing protocols and what's allowed by the state, it kind of makes sense. So that it's just going to be, like I said, just file that away because it's going to be interesting to see how those battles play out over the next month or so between local officials and university administrators. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're with us here. Brought to you by our friends over at Carriages in Bocage, carriagesbr.com. Let me remind y'all, carriagesbr.com. I talked to Will yesterday over at Carriages in Bocage, and they have lifted all of the exclusions on their summer sale. So some items were excluded from the 50% off, the buy more, save more. Now all of those have been lifted. So every suit, every sport coat, every piece of Peter Millar performance gear, swimsuits, all of it. Buy more, save more. Buy one item, 20% off. Buy two items, 40% off. Buy three items, 50% off. Some items are already discounted 50% off. Like all shoes are 50% off right now at Carriages in Bocage. And you know, even though the calendar says we're getting closer to fall, you know we still have like a good 2 or 3 months remaining of summer weather. So go stock up. Carriages in Bocage. Their summer sale is going on right now. It ends Monday, so you're less than a week remaining in this summer sale over at Carriages in Bocage. Buy more, save more, up to 50% off right now. Suits, sport coats, all the goods over at Carriages in Bocage. carriagesbr.com. Tell them Matt sent you in to Carriages in Bocage. All right, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Florida Gators.
Florida defensive lineman Elijah Conliffe has taken a medical exemption. His playing career with the Gators is over. Conliffe will remain on scholarship at the university, just won't count against the 85-man scholarship limit. He was a four-star member of the class of 2017. He was the number 12 player in Virginia, the number 18 defensive tackle in the country. Played 8 games as a freshman, 11 as a sophomore with 2 starts, but his career is over despite the possibility that he was, or the expectation that he was going to be a significant contributor in 2020.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
A Louisiana prospect has committed to Mike Leach. Wide receiver Malik Neighbors, a 4-star out of Como High in Lafayette. He's committed to the Bulldogs. He is the 12th commit for Mississippi State's 2021 class. He is a 6-foot, 190-pound receiver. Chose Mississippi State over Georgia. Also had offers from Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. The number 7 wide receiver recruit in the country, according to 24/7 Sports. He's an Under Armour All-American and didn't even have an LSU offer.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Pair of Razorbacks have received invitations to the 2020 NBA Draft Combine. They are sophomore guard Isaiah Joe and junior guard Mason Jones among the 105 potential participants for the event. The NCAA has given underclassmen until either 10 days after the Combine or August 3rd, whichever comes first, to withdraw from the draft and return to college. Jones was co-SEC Player of the Year. Joe entered his name in the draft in April, but has still left the door open to a possible return to Arkansas. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. You know where to find them. They're online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales with Trey Beal and his staff. Service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, and Mandeville. They got you covered at Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, we're going to do some Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro. Let's talk some brown water next. AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends over at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana because they're committed to getting you to look and feel like your younger self. Tell you all the time about hormone replacement therapy. It's worked for me. It can work for you, and a simple blood test can let you know if your hormones that your body naturally produces aren't being produced at the rate they should to keep you feeling healthy. They can safely and affordably supplement you to get you to healthy levels. But also, and Kirk told me this the first time I ever walked in there, he said, look, most people come in for hormone therapy. They start feeling better, and then they start looking around going, what else could I do? If it's Botox, if it's laser hair removal, if it's facial rejuvenations, whatever it may be, they've got so many products and services to offer. And this month, remember, all throughout July, and you've only got a few days left, Buy 2, get 1 free laser hair removal treatments. Buy 2, get 1 free only through July. Don't have to use them right now, but you got to buy them before the end of the month. Right now, online, theantiagingclinics.com.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
1045 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
They're the gang with the slang. This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
I got to do a really cool thing today. I had to hang out with Taylor and Mark Calandro and our buddy Luis Gonzalez from Old Elk, who's in town. Baton Rouge guy who's the CEO of Old Elk is in town, and got to sit with them and go through their Old Elk barrel pick process, which is pretty cool. Taylor's with us now. How are you, dude?
Good, man. What's happening?
Well, you know, I got to spend part of my day with you and your pops and with Luis. That was a really cool experience doing a barrel pick. So why don't you, for those that aren't familiar, explain like what a barrel pick is for those that have no idea?
Well, today we did it where we had samples in front of us. So you just taste a bunch of samples. We tasted Old Elk's wheated bourbon and wheated whiskey, and you taste. I think we tasted 3 samples of each. You taste those and pick the best ones, or the best one from the batch.
And then they'll obviously take that whole barrel, bottle that barrel instead of making a small batch or a large batch out of it, and then you get to sell that individual barrel with your own label on it. So when people hear us talk about barrel picks, that's what they're talking about. I was really intrigued, man, because it was my first time doing a side-by-side of a wheated bourbon and a wheated whiskey. You're better than I to explain this, but the difference between a wheated bourbon and a wheated whiskey.
So the wheated bourbon is still majority corn, but the small grain they use is wheat instead of rye, which is typical. Rye is what they typically use to fill the gap for regular bourbon, but wheated they use wheat, and wheat is softer, smoother. Wheated bourbons are what Pappy is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, the Wellers and
Weller, Pappy, all that stuff.
And then the wheated whiskey, though, I think Luis told us his wheated whiskey is 95% wheat.
Yeah, and you know what? That kind of caught me off guard because, well, not the grain, the mash bill, but the taste of the whiskey, because I was expecting like iced tea, and it actually had a lot of depth to it.
I was blown away. And your dad brought up a point that some people might kind of scoff at a wheated whiskey, and because it has to say bourbon, and maybe that's just a perception thing, Taylor. But I mean, I like a wheated bourbon. I like the Wellers. I mean, you mentioned the Pappy, but even if it's just any of the Wellers. I mean, y'all have a wheated Jefferson's Ocean right now as well, which is really good. I like a wheated bourbon, but the wheated whiskey blew me away. I thought it, for me anyway, that outperformed the wheated bourbon.
Yeah, I thought the bourbon was going to be better, but I actually agree. I thought the wheated whiskey had a lot more depth and flavor. Well, I thought the wheated bourbon was great, but compared to the wheated whiskey right next to it, it kind of shadowed it a little bit.
Dude, it was impressive. I think the retail on that's going to be in the $74 range, I think is what Old Elk, the retail is on that for the wheated whiskey.
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, it's expensive. It's going to be $75, $80. But with Old Elk, they do it right. They've done it right. It's one of those small distilleries that's fairly new that has done everything the right way.
I couldn't believe, man. You and I were looking at this list earlier today. So Forbes released the winners of the Whiskey of the Year, the International Whiskey competition, and Old Elk kind of cleaned up, but several others did as well. Eagle Rare dominated. What else stood out from the International Whiskey competition winners that we kind of glanced over today?
There was a lot of 1792 on there, which, I mean, 1792, they offer a bunch of stuff. A lot of it's hard to get and very limited. But they had Foolproof on there, maybe the Weeded, I'm not sure. 1792 jumped out, and I was just in awe of some of the scotches that were on there that you had no interest in at all.
I'm not a Scotch guy at all. So, but I know a lot of people that listen are interested in Scotch. So, give me an example of something that struck you.
Best Scotch whiskey under 10 years old was the Ardbeg Wee Beastie, which is their newest special release. That kind of jumped out to me. I haven't tried it, but it's gotten very mixed reviews too. So now I'm interested in it.
Wait, so why did that surprise you?
Well, it's just brand new. It's fresh out the gate, and it's very young. And Ardbeg, so Ardbeg is an Islay, and so Isleys, there's 5 different regions in Scotland. Isleys are typically the ones that people think about when you think about Scotch. Really smoky, really peaty, and Ardbeg is like one of the poster boys for that specific taste profile. And so the young Ardbegs tend to be a little stringent on people that don't have that palate yet for Scotch, but Scotch guys really love it.
That would obviously be me. So what else? We got about a minute left here. What else stood out to you on the International Whiskey Competition results?
All the Old Elks that won all the awards. Old Elk has really good lineage with Greg Metz being the master distiller. He came from MGP, which is MGP is basically a contract distiller that distills a lot of the juice you drink. You just don't know it. He came from there, and he's been in the business for 40, 45 years. He's worked his way up to master distiller for Old Elk. And like I said, they're doing it right. They're one of those new distilleries that has been patient, because a lot of new distilleries just want to put stuff out there, and they have not done that. So I'm excited for those guys.
Excited to see the barrel picks come in as well. So you can get by Calandro's, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. Of course, I got the Seagan location near Perkins near Seagan, right there at the corner, and then just down the road from us, Government Street in Baton Rouge, the original Calandro's. Got a great selection, some great barrel picks as well, and be on the lookout for that those Old Elk barrels. So which barrels? How many barrels did y'all decide on?
We decided on 2, and it should be in the next month or so. So it's going to be a pretty quick turnaround.
All right, whenever they're in, we'll certainly let you know that they're here. Taylor Calandro over at Calandro's little Whiskey Wednesday Bourbon Dictionary. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
All right, Matt.
All right, we'll see you. It's after further review. Let's head up to Columbus, Ohio. We'll talk with Jonathan Wells, former running back there, next.
AFR.
Brought to you by GMFS Mortgage. GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Make sure that you do this if you are a homeowner. I've been hammering this message, and I'm going to keep hammering this message because I know this isn't going to last forever. But please, 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 please take advantage of this moment in time. It's not going to last forever, but because of the situation in our country and in our world right now, the Fed is giving people relief by lowering interest rates. If your rate on your mortgage is above a 4, or if you have no idea what your rate is, please, 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 please get in touch with a local loan officer at GMFS Mortgage and let them go through this process for you. They could get you a lower, they could refinance your mortgage, get you a lower rate, and lower your monthly mortgage payment. What could you do if you were saving more money each month on your mortgage? GMFSmortgage.com. Offices all over Louisiana. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives.
Our family of restaurants are fired up, and we can't wait to see you safely. Little Village downtown. Call or go online for offerings and hours. Palermo Ristorante. We're serving great food right now. Little Village on Airline. Reward yourself. Stabs in Central? Nice. Stabs Prime on Jefferson. Steak or seafood? Introducing Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. We're socially responsible from a distance.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Craving garden color? Clegg's Nursery is bursting with color, grown fresh in our greenhouses. Colorful bedding plants, incredible edibles, flowering shrubs, and beautiful trees.
Our business is knowing the business of growing. Yard and garden questions are answered here.
Clegg's is a must-do family tradition. Just plant something. It's good for mind, body, and soul. Clegg's Nursery, serving Baton Rouge and Denham Springs. CleggsNursery.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Getting geared up for the second hour of After Further Review. Quick Sports Center update for you. Tua Tagovailoa has been cleared to fully participate in Miami Dolphins practices once they resume in August. Coach Brian Flores said today. Tagovailoa has passed his physical. He'll be on the field participating without limitations. This nearly 9 months after suffering a dislocated hip and posterior wall fracture. Another Miami Marlins player has tested positive for the coronavirus, bringing the number of cases in their traveling party to 18, sources confirmed to ESPN. Anthony Davis, who is day-to-day after getting poked in the eye, says he plans to play tomorrow night, but another ghost of injuries past is out. Eric Gordon of the Houston Rockets injured his left ankle in a scrimmage last night. He is expected to miss at least 2 weeks. Hour 2 of After Further Review coming your way right now.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After Further Review.
Say one more time.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And the brain.
And the brain got a poop.
We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one, folks. Hump Day presented by Pluckers. No Russ Mitchell today. We'll have Chandler Rome 1 hour from right now. You had a bunch of knuckleheads throwing baseballs at each other in the Astros and Dodgers game last night at Minute Maid. So Chandler's a good friend, Calic High alum, by the way, who is covering the Astros on the beat for the Houston Chronicle. He was there, so I assume he was there. I actually don't know if they're allowing media into Minute Maid Park, or Major League venue. So we'll ask him that as well. But we'll get his reaction to what happened last night. That's coming up here 1 hour from right now. All right, so we've been keeping our finger on the pulse across the country of what's going down. As a matter of fact, there is some breaking news. The ACC has, in fact, released its updated schedule for the 2020 football season. It was thought initially that, or was reported yesterday, that this may actually be delayed. Well, the ACC has, in fact, updated their schedule model, and they are going to go to a 10-conference game plus 1 schedule. So a bit unorthodox, but they're not eliminating non-conference altogether. They're just going to eliminate their group of 5 or FCS games. They'll play 10 conference games. Notre Dame will be included in this with the opportunity to win the ACC, and then they'll keep their Power 5 non-conference opponents, which will allow ACC, SEC traditional rivalries to remain, and then non-conference games like Auburn, North Carolina to remain as well. So the ACC has released its scheduling model. They'll play 11. The Big Ten and the Pac-12, we don't know how many games they're going to play, but they've gone to conference only, and they were the first to do it. Jonathan Wells, our friend Curtis alum, who went up to Ohio State, played running back there early 2000s, and does radio up there now. Good enough to join us here on the show. Jonathan, good to chat again, man. How are you, dude?
What's up, my friend? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Let me start with what the reaction was up there in Columbus and in the Big Ten to the decision to go conference only last month or earlier this month.
I think it was a huge disappointment. Obviously, I thought that they made the decision a little bit premature, to just get rid of all the games that early. But, at the end of the day, we're very disappointed. We definitely were looking forward to going to Oregon and playing those guys out there on the West Coast. So, it's just a lot of disappointment right now. People still up in the edge right now, not knowing if the season is actually going to happen or not. But, we just got to take it one day at a time like everybody else.
It's interesting, across the country, obviously, the reaction to COVID has been very fragmented. I was talking to a friend of mine today who lives in Colorado who said, you can't go anywhere without seeing people wear masks. It's like everyone is adhering to every policy. In Louisiana, or you go along the Gulf Coast, beaches, I mean, people aren't nearly as compliant. What's it been like in the Midwest? I don't want you to speak for the entire region, but maybe there are in and around Columbus and parts from best you can tell.
From best I can tell, Ohio's been doing a fairly decent job at following the rules pretty much everywhere I've gone. People are wearing their masks. We haven't had too many issues up here with that. So I think that the numbers are still kind of low here in Ohio. But I think everybody's been kind of doing their thing up here to try to maintain this COVID. But, it's just like everywhere else, man. They got people that are going to listen, and they have some people that are going to do what they want to do. You can't tell them nothing. And that's just a part of being a human being in the USA, I guess.
All right, so it seems like Ohio's following the rules. It kind of seems like that's been sort of the reaction there in Big Ten country and area. Is there a feeling generally that there's an understanding? I guess I'm trying to get what the fan reaction has been to the decision to go conference only. You said disappointment, but is there also understanding, or were people wanting to play the full 12, thinking that it was an unnecessary decision?
We definitely want to play the full 12. But at the end of the day, it's all about protecting the kids and the fans. I think people just want to see football regardless at this point. Whether it's, some of the games is better than no games is how I think a lot of the people looking at it up here. Because, we get the word that they're not going to have any football this fall. That's going to be devastating across the country. So I think people were disappointed with not having a full schedule, but still happy that they were going to be able to play the Big Ten schedule. So that's kind of where we're sitting at on this end.
Is the general feeling there that they are going to play?
We're holding on to the faith, brother. Just like you. Listen, things change every day right now. So we're definitely holding on to the faith. We're believing we're going to play. But, we can wake up any moment and get that thing coming across ESPN saying that college football has been canceled. So it's really, people are walking on eggshells, to be quite honest with you.
Would Ohio State announced 20% capacity at the Horseshoe this season? Do you think that's plausible?
It's going to be weird, like I said, it's plausible. Yeah, I think they can do it, but the effect that those amount of people will have on the game, I don't think it'll be really significant at all. But we will have football. So, the most important thing right now is figuring out a way to actually play these games and get these kids on the field so that they don't get disrupted with their opportunity to try to make it to the next level, to the NFL. So, we trying to play regardless of how we get it done.
Curtis Patriot, Ohio State Buckeye, Houston Texan. Jonathan Wells is our guest, lives up there in Columbus. Good enough to join us here for a couple of minutes. As a player, let me ask, because this has been a big storyline in the NFL with guys opting out, but as a player, would you feel safe right now playing the game?
I don't know if I would feel safe, but I think that mindset that we're in at that time, I would want to play. You know what I mean? I would probably take my chances, to be quite honest with you, especially if I'm somebody who's not sitting in a top 10 or first-round situation where if the season doesn't happen, they're still going to get drafted. If I'm trying to play my way onto somebody's draft board, I need to play. I need this footage, and I need this film. So I will want to play just knowing how I am and when I was in my playing days. I would definitely want to play.
Why? So, and obviously, look, as a college athlete, you're in an elite percentage of just humans with your physical ability. Like I'm not trying to like butter you up here, but it's just reality, right? I mean, a very small percentage of human beings are physically talented enough to play major college football. So why would you feel unsafe if you are in your physical prime and healthy?
That's a great question. And like I said, I know most of the guys, they probably don't. They, a lot of people, we don't know who to believe right now with this story. You know what I'm saying? We don't know if it's as bad as they say. There's just so much information out there right now. I mean, I know if I'm in the top shape of my life right now, I wouldn't be concerned about getting a virus. You know what I mean? So, I would be ready to rock and roll and take my chances at that age because I was in phenomenal shape, like you say. Yeah. And I think that's part of most of the battle. If you're in decent shape, you have a great chance of catching this virus and moving on at the end of the day. So I'm like you here.
Couple more minutes here with Jonathan Wells, former Ohio State running back, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. Is there any ear to ground scuttlebutt about how many games the Big Ten plans to play?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Is there any sort of scuttlebutt or chatter up there about how many games the Big Ten plans to play?
I haven't heard too much, to be quite honest with you, on my end. You see, I live in Columbus, but I actually live up in Cleveland. You know what I mean? So I'm about 2 hours away from campus down there. So yeah,
You're up there with Jarvis and Odell.
Yeah, I'm up here. I'm up here in the land with the Brownies, baby.
So do you think I guess I'm just curious how you think this might play out if the ACC announced today they're going to play 11 games, 10 conference plus 1. The SEC and the Big 12 are holding out hope to get their 12-game schedule, and they haven't budged off of that yet. Do you think the Big 10 is looking at playing their existing 9-game conference-only schedule or adding games? What do you think is the most likely scenario?
I guess they could probably add games if they needed to, because so every year we don't get to play one or two different teams from the other side of the conference. So I'm sure they could sneak another game or two in there to take it to that 11 game year. And that would probably be the best thing that they would have to do. Since they've canceled all the non-conference games, so that's definitely a possibility. But like I said, I'm not on the inside and understanding how they're really trying to move right now.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. We're all in unprecedented territory, but we'll get answers hopefully sooner than later. Jonathan Wells, Curtis Patriot, Ohio State Buckeye, Houston Texan, and a good friend, man. It was great seeing you down in New Orleans for the national championship. Hopefully we get to catch up again soon, man. Thanks for the time.
Appreciate you, man. Had a ball down there with you.
Us too, man. We'll see you soon. That's Jonathan Wells. We appreciate you for being with us. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, I do want to delve into what the ACC announced today. So what this means I want to just kind of peel back some of the layers. Take a look at the ACC schedule, compare it to what exists already, and what it might mean for the SEC. Stick around with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hump Day Show is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in or carry out. 24 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. Right now, there's soccer on ESPN. There's Major League Baseball on now every night of the week. It's starting tomorrow. It is the NBA restart. The Pels will be on the floor for real against the Utah Jazz. If you need a place to watch, get them by Pluckers, either location. Nicholson or Bluebonnet, dine in or carry out. Remember, Pluckers is open for lunch as well. So if you're back at work and you're looking for a good lunch option, either part of town, just south of campus on Nicholson, or Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Pluckers has their full menu available for lunch and for dinner. Again, NBA's restart is tomorrow. What better could you do tomorrow than to get by Pluckers and watch the Pels as they throw up the ball for real in the NBA's bubble, then eat some wings and drink some beer at Pluckers? You don't like our wings? We'll give you the bird.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, we cruise along here on a hump day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. I guess we could certainly qualify this as a bit of breaking news. Ross Dellinger over at SI, and why wouldn't it be Ross? It's always Ross. But if you would, Brain, hit me with our breaking news sounder. Here's the headline from Ross. Sources. SEC moving closer to conference-only schedule for 2020. Comes with a caveat. We'll get to that in a second. He writes, for years, SEC fans have clamored for fewer games against lower-level squads and for more big-time matchups with opponents of their own team's stature. It took a pandemic, but they may get their wish. So he writes, the SEC is moving closer to an agreement on a conference-only schedule of 10 games. Here's the oddity. The athletic directors met today, and apparently a majority of the ADs approved the idea of an SEC-only 10-game schedule. However, the schedule must be ratified by the league's presidents. They're expected to meet virtually tomorrow to discuss the matter. Dellinger reports that they could vote then, tomorrow, or delay the decision until next week. Here's the kicker. The NCAA Board of Governors is scheduled to meet Tuesday. Officials there could postpone or cancel fall championships. What that means is, remember, the FBS, the NCAA does not crown an FBS champion. Like, I know this is this always sounds weird to people when they hear it, but you got to think of it this way. The NCAA does not crown a college football national champion, an FBS champion. The leagues collectively outsource its championship, its football championship, to the college football playoff. The college football playoff crowns the champion independent of the NCAA. You know, like whenever you have like the NCAA basketball championship or the College World Series, when they win the championship, they get that brown trophy. You know what I'm talking about? That like tall brown trophy. There isn't one of those for football because the NCAA does not crown a football champion. They do, however, crown an FCS champion and a Division II champion, a Division III champion. Those are NCAA championships. So if the NCAA decides that it's going to put off FCS football until the spring, which I guess theoretically they could do next week, that would eliminate FCS games against Power 5 opponents, like LSU against Nichols. Even if Nichols is willing to play. We talked about this last week. You had Houston Baptist. Houston Baptist stepped in and took a game against Louisiana Tech, one that was lost because of Prairie View and the SWAC moving its season to the spring. So even if you have some willing participants, the NCAA does have a greater jurisdiction over the FCS to say, no, you're going to play in the spring. So that could potentially be the linchpin here, why you're seeing this from the SEC and earlier today from the ACC about this possibility. The really big, gigantic question becomes, what do you do with the group of 5 games, right? What do you do with LSU against UTSA? What do you do with LSU against Rice? All of those group of 5, Power 5 games effectively go away with this news, and the group of 5 is the collective that really ends up in the toughest spot here. It is worth noting, though, that even in the ACC's announcement of their schedule model, they have set a opening week of the season, September 7th through the 12th. The season's first games happen September 7th through the 12th. And their scheduling model, while they say conference only, is actually a conference +1. So this obviously allows for the ACC to keep their traditional rivalries alive, to keep Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Clemson, South Carolina, and Kentucky, Louisville, and then the non-conference games, which are scheduled like Auburn, North Carolina, which is on the books for this year as well. So it's not exactly conference only, but they have expanded their conference schedule from 8 to 10. And they've included Notre Dame in this mix, where Notre Dame could win the ACC championship, and they'll go by there will be only one division. It will not be a division play this year. The ACC championship game will be either December 12th or December the 19th, with the top 2 teams based on winning percentage. That obviously also throws out ties, or, well, I guess ties wouldn't matter, but the possibility of a team maybe missing a game. Like, let's say you play one less game because your team has a pandemic or has a positive test and you can't field a team and you miss a game. Winning percentage would ultimately be the dictator, not overall record right there. So the schedules are laid out there for how they're going to play. And it's an intriguing grid that the ACC has worked on. And the SEC athletic directors apparently are willing to move in that same direction. It has to be ratified by the university presidents. But again, like the part for me that where you hit this roadblock is when you say conference only, but it's not conference only. It's conference only +1. So in effect, what they're telling you is they still want to play as close to a full schedule as possible because they need all of these games. I think their fear is they're not going to have the non-conference options. I mean, it's evident there. If the NCAA decides to move the FCS season to the spring, well, then every FBS team that's set to play in FCS school, you lose that date. And then there's also uncertainty there with the group of 5 leagues and what they may do if they collectively decide or one by one decide to move to the spring as well. That's obviously not unanimous because we heard Eddie Nunez on our show last week, who's formerly an LSU associate AD, who's the AD now at New Mexico, in the WAC, or in the Mountain West, who said, we want to play our fall season. And he mentioned how critical it was them losing their game against USC and how they want to play their game against Mississippi State because they need those paydays. So I don't think you're going to have any sort of unanimous decision here. But ultimately, it'll be very intriguing to see what the majority does because the big question remains in this puzzle, the group of 5. Because if the Power 5 leagues all go conference only or conference only +1 model, we know what happens there with the FCS, but what does the group of 5 do? Because they may be left with no other choice but to maybe expand the schedule against each other, and is that even worth doing for them? Let's see. I tried to scan through this as best I could during the break, so I hate to just sit here and read it on air, but I'm trying to scan through the other notes. Ross also notes the conference-only model would mean the elimination of Group of 5 and FCS teams, their bye games or their guarantee games. So, that would eliminate, as we talked about, a big expense. Ross notes in his report that for the SEC in 2017, they paid out more than $45 million in those guarantee games. It's unclear if insurance policies would pay for that. Some would let out of the contract free and clear. In other instances, like what Eddie Nunez told us last week, was they were given an advance on that game from Southern Cal when they signed the contract. So would they have to repay that money? It's unclear right now. But Ross finishes by saying, if the model is approved by the presidents, the SEC could find itself in a prickly situation in scheduling 2 extra conference games. The league's normal regular season includes 6 games against interdivision foes, a permanent opponent, and 2 rotating opponents from the opposite division. One of the proposals that we saw earlier this week, if the SEC were to go to 10 league games, would be your 5 divisional opponents, or excuse me, your 6 divisional opponents, obviously, your permanent opponent, and then which would bring you to 7, and then you could add 2 games against your next 2 rotating opponents. So for LSU, that would be at Kentucky and home against Tennessee, if that's what you like to do. So you gave your 6 division opponents at Florida, home against South Carolina, and if you added the next 2 years cross-divisionals, it would be at Kentucky and home against Tennessee, and that would bring you to 10 conference games, plus Texas, which would be an 11-game season, and you would lose Rice, UTSA, and Nichols, essentially, would be the games that you'd lose. So, again, breaking news here, the ACC has announced they are moving to a conference-only, sort of. It's a conference +1 is what they're going to. They'll play 10 conference games plus a Power 5 non-conference opponent. And the SEC athletic directors apparently have voted by majority to adopt a similar model, 10 +1, or conference only +1, that now has to be approved by the university presidents, which are set to vote tomorrow. So Greg Sankey said several weeks ago that the idea of conference scheduling, they hoped by the end of July that they could come to some agreement that would materialize a bit. It appears as though the SEC is close to that decision, as it appears the ACC has announced today that they will play 10 conference games plus 1 Power 5 non-conference opponent. If you want to react, please feel free. I do actually have an open segment. If you want to work in a call, text, email, tweet, join us. Lines are open at 499-1045, 499-1045, or toll free 844-568-MATT. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can jump in the huddle. You can always jump in the YouTube chat as well. Go to the 1045 ESPN YouTube channel, and you'll see the chat right there. If you're logged in, you can comment there. You can always email the show, matt@1045ESPN.com. Glad you're hanging out with us here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Pluckers. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery, with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. No matter where you are in the greater Baton Rouge area, you're near a Clegg's Nursery. Siga near Airline. If you're in Denham, they're on LA 16. You exit range, you go left, about 5 miles down on the left. You can't miss Clegg's. If you're familiar with Denham, you know where the Clegg's is in Denham, and there's not another garden center within a 5-mile radius of that Clegg's Nursery, and their selection is as good and plentiful as any of the other Clegg's Nursery locations. The Mid-City location is on Donmore. You turn off to Florida on Donmore, they're right there on the corner. And, of course, the garden center up there on Greenwell Springs, the largest garden center in the state of Louisiana. It's Clegg's Nursery. Their plants and flowers and trees and shrubs are grown at their garden center, so they're acclimated to South Louisiana, so they're going to live longer. And they're partnered with True Value Hardware Store, so whatever you buy at a hardware store, you can also get at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you into Clegg's Nursery.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
104.5 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Hey, remember, every guest on AFR gets a gift from Dead Soxy, S-O-X-Y, deadsoxy.com. Got my red, white, and blues on today. Go, go, USA, like the British guy said in that World Cup game all those years ago. You think he was really pulling for the USA when he said that, Brain?
I'm not familiar with the reference.
You remember, it was the 2010 World Cup, and Landon Donovan scored that goal, and the British guy goes, "Go, go, USA!"
I'm sure he was genuine.
I don't think so. Why would the British guy care if the U.S. won a World Cup game?
I know I didn't.
That's my point.
Yeah, okay, then I'm on board.
Okay.
I think it was just BSing.
Great. In any event, deadsoxy.com, they're kind enough to give all of our guests a gift, premium dress socks that will not slip. Look, Paul, come back to me for a second. Just so you know, look, I'm going to roll up my jeans so you can see. They've not slipped all day. They don't slip. They have patented technology on the inside of their socks. It is these like silicone balls. I have silicone balls on my socks. Anyway, it's not like cutting off your circulation. It just creates that friction there that don't allow your socks to slip. It's patented technology. They're incredibly comfortable and stylish. And, I was talking their guys again earlier this week. They're just so grateful to the AFR audience because our audience effectively made sure that Dead Soxy stayed in business amid the pandemic. And so they said, look, we'll always make sure we take great care of your audience, Matt. And they've been true to their word. So 30% off everything with the promo code GO. That's just for our audience. 30% off with the promo code GO, and that's on top of any existing sale. So, like, I just went to the men's page. Here's a 3-pack of their boardroom socks at $48. You can use the promo code GO and get an additional 30%. So if you see a sale at deadsoxy.com, throw the promo code GO on top of it, GUAUX, and get an additional 30%. Like I said, they're always going to take care of our audience because we were there for them, and they've held true to their word. So fired up to be partnered with a great company, deadsoxy.com, SOXY, deadsoxy.com, the new standard in premium dress socks. Be sure to check out their purple and gold socks, too. They're fire. Be great for football season when it rolls around. I will delve back into, in just a minute, because a lot of you are reacting. We'll get to your reaction here shortly to the news that Ross Dellinger just tweeted out. Is a story up at SI.com. The ACC has gone to conference +1, 10 conference games +1 non-conference. The SEC athletic directors have reportedly approved that as well. However, it has to be ratified by the university presidents, who are set to meet tomorrow. So we could have a final answer on SEC football by tomorrow, and it appears as though one of the big reasons for that is that the NCAA Board of Governors is set to meet next week, and they could push the FCS season to the spring. If they do that, then that would leave a giant hole on almost every Power 5 schedule, because every team that has a game against an FCS opponent would no longer have that game against said FCS opponent. So we'll delve back into some reaction to that, because I'm getting a lot of your reaction on email, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We'll get to all that here shortly. Phone lines are open as well if you want to join us at 499-1045, 499-1045, or toll-free 844-568. Matt, two things just real quickly. The NBA restart is tomorrow. 3 former LSU Tigers will be part in the seeding games, possibly beyond. Garrett Temple of the Nets, Ben Simmons of the Sixers, Tremont Waters of the Celtics. Waters, two-way player, but he's been in the bubble all along. So 3 LSU players will be participating in the NBA restart, which starts tomorrow. And, of course, Tremont Waters was the G League Rookie of the Year. And all of those players have continued to test positive, because the NBA has said now for the second consecutive week, no NBA players have tested positive for COVID-19. 344 players among the groups that have been tested daily, and none has tested positive. So the NBA established these very extensive health and safety protocols. The NBA had a 113-page document. They basically wrote The Catcher in the Rye, The Grapes of Wrath. I mean, they wrote a novel, a 113-page document, like single-space 10-point font with guidelines and expected practices. And apparently all of these players have bought in. This is why a lot of people, this is one objection I've heard often with regards to football. Some have said, well, it's a contact sport. How could you possibly stop the spread when you've got guys tackling and huddles on top? Well, if you've got 22 guys on the field that are negative for COVID-19, it doesn't matter if they spit or bleed or sweat on each other, because they're not infected with COVID-19. So that's the key point, obviously. It's what Chip Bankston talked about on the show yesterday, is staying on top of testing and identifying people who do test positive, which is an inevitability, and removing them from contact with the rest of the team if and when you find out those players that have tested positive or have been in contact with people who do. And when that happens, you proceed as best you can with the players that are available to you. So, but it's why boxing has worked. It's why MMA has been able to carry on. The UFC has put on the events they have during this time, because they've tested and they've been able to have people adhere to the social distancing guidelines that they've had in place, the policies they've had in place, and they've been able to successfully identify when people have tested positive and remove them from their bubble or their contact tracing protocols. So it's worked well for the NBA and essentially every other sport that's resumed. So Let's see if football can follow suit. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, 288-8138, 288-8138, or reliefwindows.com. If you know someone who is looking for work, Relief Windows. Brandon Holly told me point blank, said, Matt, I could hire 20 workers today. They've got a tremendous amount of business that's backlogged, and they need workers. If you need to work, if you know someone who's looking for work, Relief Windows. Great company that offers health benefits, retirement benefits. If you want a career instead of a job, if you want opportunities for advancement, Relief Windows. You want to work for a great family-owned company? Relief Windows. Reliefwindows.com, reliefwindows.com. Merrick Mathern commented in the YouTube chat and said, Matt, I hope this leads the SEC doing away with permanent opponents. I don't think that's possible because the SEC is going to always want to protect its rivalries. I mean, it's evident that is a priority for the conference. They want to protect Alabama, Tennessee, and they want to protect Auburn, Georgia. Similarly, teams with a regional rivalry, a traditional rivalry, like Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Clemson, South Carolina, they want to protect those games also. Those teams do in the league by extension. It's why LSU has always lost this argument, because LSU is the only school that ain't got one. Auburn and Tennessee have each other. Or Auburn and Georgia. Bama and Tennessee have each other. Florida has Florida State. Georgia has Georgia Tech. South Carolina has Clemson. Kentucky has Louisville. LSU doesn't have one. And because LSU doesn't have that, it's really the only school, say maybe Arkansas, that doesn't have a dog in that fight. It's why LSU and Arkansas were paired together for so many years. And everybody here resented it. So, I don't think they're ever going to do away with that aspect of it, where you're always going to have Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, Georgia, and all those non-conference games. One thing that could happen, though, to Merrick's point, if we look back with the benefit of hindsight after this, is you could see a move, if all of college football does it, to more of a pod play. And you could maintain those games at all times. If you rotated based on those pods within a conference. You did away with divisions and you had pod play. You could do it, maintain those games that you need to maintain every year, and every team would play every team in the league every third year. So over a 3-year cycle, you'd play everybody in a 14-team conference. So that is maybe possible there, Merrick, but it would have to be something that would be adopted across the board in college football. Because the SEC isn't going to volunteer to adopt a 10-game conference schedule plus one non-conference game if the rest of the league isn't playing 11 FBS opponents. No league is going to put itself at that competitive disadvantage when you look to a 4-team playoff system that values being undefeated more than anything. That's why you have the guarantee games. You have 3 built-in wins, presumably, on your schedule that also allow you to line your pockets. And the only people that really lose are the fans that have to watch those trash games that nobody wants to see. So if this is the impetus for a long-term change, it would have to be unilateral. All of the Power 5 would have to agree to move to this eventually. It's looking like they'll all do it for 2020. And maybe this will be the test case for how scheduling might look in the Power 5 moving forward. I will be the first to put my hand in the air and say amen. I would so much rather see 10 SEC games plus a Power 5 non-conference game than 8 SEC games, a Power 5 non-conference game, and 3 blowouts that nobody cares to see. Give me 11 awesome games with an extra bye week built in over 12 games that has 8 or 9 good games and 3 games that nobody cares to see. All right, you can get your questions in. These are some really good ones. Stat and Dubois asks, how will this affect rankings? How will it affect next year's preseason rankings? Rankings don't matter as much as the perception of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. which is why if you're an SEC team and you're going to play 10 conference games and 1 non-conference game, your conference is tougher. So how will the committee ultimately gauge a schedule that likely won't have any undefeated teams? To beat 11 Power 5 teams in a regular season is something nobody's had to do in this era, right? I mean, everybody's had your FCS opponent and your gimmies against the group of 5. No one's if you include a conference championship game, sure, because you could have Georgia play a kickoff classic, 8 conference games, Georgia Tech, so that's 10, and then an SEC championship game that makes it 11. But I'm just talking about in your regular season. Nobody's had to play 11 regular season Power 5 opponents. This would be the entree into that. Let's see how it looks. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. Let me knock out a quick break. Brain will have Tigers and the pros when we come back. We'll go to Houston in 15 minutes. We'll talk to Chandler Rome about idiots throwing baseballs at people's heads. Stick around. We'll get much more reaction to the changes in scheduling that we're seeing today. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Premier South Roofing and PremierSouthLA.com. Baton Rouge, Premier South Roofing. Lafayette, Premier South Roofing. North Shore, Premier South Roofing. All points in between, Premier South Roofing. You know where they are. Their office is on Highlandia. It's where their warehouse is, the road that runs off parallel to I-10 right off of Highland. If you're driving down I-10 east and you look to your right, just past the Highland exit, you'll see the back of the Premier South Roofing warehouse. That's where they manufacture their own metal. I tell you all the time, they can offer you the longest labor warranty in the industry. They can do that because they know how their items are made. Like if you want a metal roof or awnings or gutters and you want them customized, they can do that. Other companies maybe only be able to offer you what their distributor offers. Well, Premier South Roofing, they fabricate. They can specialize any job for you. Premier South Roofing. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, North Shore, or online, PremierSouthLA.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care. It's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I just saw this on Twitter. Certainly a lot of people around here are college baseball fans, and if you are, you certainly know the name Mike Gillespie, who was former head coach at UC Irvine when Irvine came to LSU back in 2008, and previously was the head coach at Southern Cal, won a championship there in 1998, and brought several Trojan teams into Baton Rouge for regional play. I just saw this on Twitter from Mark Gonzalez, who tweeted, terribly saddened by the passing of Mike Gillespie, coach of the 1998 CWS champion USC Trojans. Produced dozens of major leaguers from College of Canyons, USC, and UC Irvine, and made people around him better people. RIP number 19. So condolences to Mike Gillespie's family. If you remember, there were a lot of none too pleased LSU fans during that Irvine series because of comments that Gillespie made about the South when he was bringing his team in from Irvine in 2019. There was even if I remember correctly, I think there was an organized American flag waving event as the Irvine buses showed up there in the 2000s. It was the final games at the old Alec Box Stadium, of course, was that Irvine team, and Mike Gillespie was the coach. But he was certainly a legend in the game of college baseball, and our condolences to Mike Gillespie's family, to the Irvine and USC baseball programs as well. It's after further review. Glad you're with us here. Brain, tell us what's happening. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
We're going to lead off with the WNBA, as you would. The WNBA has a new all-time leading rebounder in former Tiger Sylvia Fowles. Fowles grabbed her record-breaking 3,357th board just before halftime, ended the night at 33-61 for her career. So, in the WNBA record books with a former Tiger.
You know who else is on the list?
Who else is on what list?
Do you know anybody else that's on the list?
Yeah, she passed her assistant coach.
Rebecca Brunson.
Yes, that would be her. That's all I remember from the story.
Tamika Catchings is on there as well. Lisa Leslie. Tina Charles.
I recognize the name Lisa Leslie.
Candace Parker.
I recognize that name, too.
Mm-hmm.
Played for Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah.
I knew all of them.
I'm sure you did.
I'm just looking at the graphic.
That happens.
That is cool for Big Sil, though.
Yeah.
What a career she has carved out. She and Simone both in WNBA.
Moving on to the NBA. They're set to return tomorrow night, as you heard Matt mention just a minute ago. It is worth noting there are 3 Tigers in the bubble right now. Garrett Temple with Brooklyn, Ben Simmons with Philly, and Tremont Waters with Boston.
Excited about Tremont Waters, man. I'm really happy for him. Like, Ben Simmons and Philly obviously have a shot to, theoretically, I guess, to win it. Garrett's carved out a great career, but I'm excited for Tremont. You know, to have had the 2-way contract. A lot of people weren't sure about him leaving early, but he's done in the NBA and in the G League what he did here, and just go and be a really good basketball player. I think he'll continue to be. Good on him.
Constantly turning heads. He's been fun. Over to Major League Baseball, Alex Bregman got thrown at last night.
Ugh.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that with Chandler Rome in about 7 minutes.
Aside from that, he went 0 for 2. Did have 2 walks. Stros lose 5-2 to the Dodgers. Jacoby Jones also went 0 for 2 last night, but did manage to score a run. He helped Detroit on their way to a 4-3 win over the Royals. One NFL note, Damian Williams has opted out for the 2020 season.
And what does that have to do with LSU?
I'll tell you exactly what that has to do with LSU. It pushes
someone takes his spot?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire into the top spot on the depth chart, paving the way for him to start the season as the starter.
Who's doing these edits? Like, there's an edit of Clyde running the ball wearing a Chiefs uniform. Look at that. I mean, and you can tell that's obviously look, you can see that's Tiger State. They even but good on them because they've even edited like the fans in the background for it to be red. But look at the padding there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Paul, can you move the there? See the padding? That's obviously the yellow padding along the fence at Tiger Stadium. I mean, it's clear what that is. But they've taken a photo and put Clyde in a Kansas City uniform.
Did they Photoshop every jersey in the background as well, or were we playing against a team that wore red? Not jersey, but the fans.
I just said that.
Oh.
Like, they've obviously got the wall, but they've even done the fans to make them all red.
I mean, if we were playing Arkansas or something.
Did they play Arkansas in Baton Rouge this year, or was that in Arkansas? I don't remember.
Did we play anybody wearing red last year?
Arkansas.
No, in Tiger Stadium.
I don't remember where the Arkansas game was. No, it would have been Baton Rouge. Yeah, Baton Rouge.
That would have saved a lot of time in the Photoshop.
Yeah, maybe that's what they did. Maybe and that was like the southeast corner over there. Maybe so. All right, Tigers in the pros. This is After Further Review, brought to you by Pluckers. We'll knock out a quick break, come back after the top of the hour, head to Houston, talk to Chandler Rome about idiots throwing baseballs at each other.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. If you don't blink, your eyes are probably dry. And if you don't blink and your eyes are dry, that could cause damage. And if you have dry eyes, Williamson Eye Center has a state-of-the-art dry eye center at their new location on the Baton Rouge General Campus. Honest to goodness. If you have dry eyes because you don't blink, or even if you do blink, it leaves you with dry eyes, Williamson Eye Center. Or maybe you're like me and you wore contacts forever. And a lot of times, you didn't take your contacts out at night. And that left you with dry eyes. Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center. But they're a state-of-the-art LASIK center as well. More than 70 years giving people the gift of sight. They can help you as well. No matter what your refractive issue is, no matter how young or old you are, the Williamson Eye Center has an option. Even if you had RK, my dad had RK back in the day. He had a lens replacement procedure at Williamson. Doesn't need glasses anymore. It's in his late 60s. Williamson Eye Center. Online, Williamson, EYE.com.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Gearing up for hour 3 of After Further Review. Quick little Sports Center update for you here. Tua Tagovailoa has been cleared to fully participate in Miami Dolphins practices once they resume in August. This according to their coach, Brian Flores, said that earlier today. Tua passed his physical. He will be on the field participating without limitations. This, of course, roughly 9 months after suffering a dislocated hip and posterior wall fracture. Another Miami Marlins player has tested positive for the coronavirus, bringing the number of cases in their traveling party up to 18. Sources confirmed that to ESPN. Anthony Davis, who is day-to-day after getting poked in the eye, says he does plan to play tomorrow night. However, another former a ghost of injuries past out of New Orleans, Eric Gordon, now with the Houston Rockets, injured his left ankle in a scrimmage last night. He is out for up to 2 weeks. Quick update from Major League Baseball. The Rockies have a 3-1 lead in the top of the 8th over the A's, and the Diamondbacks trail the Rangers 2-0 in the 6th. AFR is coming your way now.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After Further Review.
Say it one more time.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And the brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. I'm obligated because I know my kid is watching. Oh, by the way, it's a hump day. Chandler Rome's on hold.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Feel really bad for him.
It's hump day.
Because he's got to listen to me be an idiot for a second.
Hump day.
But I don't care because my kid loves when I go hump day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And he watches on Wednesdays just so he can see me do that.
It's hump day.
Maybe I should just get Erica to pull up the DVR of an old episode.
Hump day.
And then Drew can just watch me yelling hump day then.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
All right, ACC has gone to a 10-game conference schedule +1.
It's hump day.
SEC likely to do the same, according to Ross Dellinger.
Hump day.
We'll get into all of that as we move through this 5 o'clock hour.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
But let's head to Houston right now. You seen it last night. The Astros and the Dodgers had a fake baseball fight because baseball fights aren't real, but you had idiots throwing the baseball at each other and throwing at heads and whatnot. And now Joe Kelly's been suspended. Let's go to Houston and talk to Chandler Rome, beat writer for the Houston Chronicle, covering the Astros and Kelly Kai, by the way, as well. Chandler, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
I'm listening to Mr. Brightside playing an empty Minute Maid Park, so I've been better than that.
Well, you get to watch baseball. And I actually was going to ask if you are getting to go into the park to cover games. So how many people outside of the players, coaches, et cetera, dugout area, how many people are in the park?
Yeah, so I'll break it down. I'll try to break it down quick. There's 3 tiers that Major League Baseball has separated everyone into. Tier 1 and Tier 2 are players. The Tier 1 is players, on-field staff, coaches, trainers, things like that. Tier 2 is front office, general manager, scouts, ballpark crew, grounds crew, and radio people, things like that. Tier 3 is the media. And each team has a limit on how many Tier 3 individuals they can allow in. The consensus in Major League Baseball has kind of been that 35 is the number. So there's a limit every Astros game, every home Astros game
it's a limit of 35 credentials issued, and that covers photographers, cameramen, reporters, everybody. So aside from the Tier 1 and Tier 2 people, I'd say there's about 50 people inside the ballpark, including everyone else.
So 50 people saw Joe Kelly throw behind Alex Bregman and at Correa's head last night, and he's been suspended subsequent. Were you because baseball has basically said no fighting, was there an expectation that teams were still going to retaliate?
It's difficult to answer because I didn't know like how this 5-month shutdown impacted things. Like you would think that a global pandemic and 140,000 people dead and things like that, you would think things were put into proper perspective, that maybe the sign stealing and everything is put on the back burner and people just want to get through this season healthy. And especially with the Dodgers, I mean, this team's going to contend for a World Series title if we make it to the World Series. So you would think that none of these guys want to get suspended and in a 60-game season especially and miss any of this. But obviously Joe Kelly had other ideas. And look, everyone is still really mad at the Astros. The pandemic, time did not heal all wounds. Everyone is still really mad. And the Dodgers are probably the maddest. The Astros probably have a pretty safe landing spot in their first series against the Seattle Mariners, a team full of prospects that's trying to lose. So none of them really cared about throwing at the Astros, but then the Dodgers come into town and they really, really cared about throwing at the Astros. So I don't know how much more of it to expect. I think today Joe Kelly's suspension really set a pretty ominous precedent for anyone that wants to retaliate against the Astros, because an 8-game suspension, that would have been lengthy in a regular season, but I'll put it to you this way, Matt. An 8-game suspension in a 60-game season is the equivalent of a 22-game suspension in a 162-game season. So Joe Kelly's going to be missing a good bit of time.
So he'll miss, 2 starts?
Well, he's not a starter.
Well, actually, yes. Okay, go ahead.
He's not a starter. He's a reliever. So he's going to appeal. Maybe he gets it knocked down on appeal, but I will say, you may remember this, you're a Yankee fan. In 2018, Joe Kelly threw a ball at Tyler Austin's head in the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry and incited a benches clearing brawl there too. He was suspended 6 games for that and did not get it reduced on appeal. And then in their release today, Major League Baseball made it a point to point out that Joe Kelly has been suspended before for intentionally throwing at batters. So it doesn't look good that Joe Kelly will get this knocked down on appeal, but he's going to try anyway. He is available to pitch tonight at Minute Maid Park because he is technically appealing his suspension. So there is a chance that he could pitch tonight while technically under appeal of his suspension.
There are actually some people, and I was floored by this, just full disclosure, but there are some people in the Twitter sphere who tried to make the argument that Kelly was not intentionally throwing at Correa. You were there. What do you think?
I can tell you this. Joe Kelly's reputation throughout his career, he's wild. He does not have good command. That has been his career reputation. He did not have good command last night. I will tell you, there are ways to disguise the fact that, you're throwing at somebody. The pitch to Bregman was intentional. I think we can all agree on that. I think every person with a rational mind knows that was intentional.
3-0, nobody on, absolutely.
Right. Clearly behind him. Correa, there were 2 breaking balls, and they both came in succession. Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, said after the game that those were not intentional. I don't know what to believe, but I find it difficult to believe that if it wasn't intentional, he wouldn't have did what he did coming off the field, when he's sticking his tongue out, when he's sticking his lip out, kind of mimicking a petulant child toward Correa. Dusty Baker told us that Joe Kelly told Correa, "Nice swing, B-word," as he walked off the field, and that is what. I don't know if I can curse on the show.
Yeah, you probably could get away with that one, but you're better to play it safe.
Yeah, so that is what enticed everybody to come out, was what Kelly yelled at Correa, and that I think may have something to do with the severity of the suspension, because obviously we're playing in a pandemic. Major League Baseball has very strict rules about staying socially distant, staying 6 feet apart in the dugout, and they have in their 113-page operations manual for 2020, they have it specific. If a player or manager leaves their position to come within 6 feet of an umpire or an opposing player to argue or instigate a fight, everyone is subject to fines, suspensions are discipline. And I think that the fact that that instigated everyone to come closer than 6 feet and to, break protocol for a minute or two, I think that had something to do a lot with this as well as the weight of Kelly's suspension.
Do you think that Houston will in turn retaliate?
No, because here's why. They are starting a kid tonight named Christian Javier. He has pitched one game above triple. He has pitched one game above Double A. The Astros bullpen is ravaged. They have 9 rookies in their bullpen right now. They threw 4 pitchers last night. 2 of them made their major league debut last night, and the other one was making a second major league appearance. Asking a rookie to retaliate is just not. You just don't do that to a kid in his first or second or third appearance in the big league. Now, maybe one of these kids goes rogue and does it to earn some respect, and maybe that happens. But Dusty Baker was pretty adamant last night that they're not going to ask these rookies to go out there and retaliate. But the one guy in their bullpen that has a lot of major league service time and that I would not be shocked at all if he does it is closer Roberto Osuna. Now, usually they only use Osuna when they have the lead in the 9th inning. So they'd have to get to that point. And does Osuna want to throw at somebody in a save situation against the Dodgers? I'm not sure. But if it happens, it'll be from Osuna because everyone else in the Astros bullpen is brand new. They're all a bunch of rookies.
Could you potentially see a scenario where one of two things happen, Chandler? Like either they keep throwing at each other because the threat of retaliation or bases clearing and dugouts emptying is non-existent because of the severity of the suspension, or it goes the other way because of that threat. They decide we're truce sort of thing.
I do think the Astros want this to go away. I don't think they want to make this a season-long thing. I don't think this is the last time they'll be thrown at. I think, they're going to go to Oakland where people are very mad. They're going to go to Anaheim where people are very mad. And they're going to go to Arlington where also people are very mad. So they will probably get thrown at again this year. I don't think they want to make this a meatball war and keep the narrative going. They've talked so much since February about moving on, looking at 2020, and that's impossible to do. That's just not going to happen. No one's going to forget what happened. But they're trying their best, and I don't think they want to turn this into a retaliation thing, especially with the way their pitching staff is right now, and especially, I'm skeptical that this thing finishes the season and we get to a postseason. But if we do, the Astros are set up to contend for the American League pennant, and we've seen now with the precedent with these suspensions, they're not going to not suspend Astros players if they retaliate too. So I don't know if they'd want to lose, the few veteran pitchers they have. I don't know if they'd want to lose those guys in a 60-game season, for something as that could get you credit in the clubhouse and it'll build your points in the clubhouse and it'll build your respect there. But something that just on the field is just unnecessary.
Yeah. Well said. Appreciate the time, man. Thanks for squeezing us in, and we'll check in soon, all right?
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, man. That's Chandler Rome. Y'all follow him on Twitter and read his stuff over at the Houston Chronicle. Does a really good job. He's there, the beat writer, and just a weird. I'll never, ever, 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 ever be okay with goofballs thrown at each other. Like, I just not okay with it. Like, some of you justify it, take matters in your own hands. You deserve to be thrown at. No, you don't. Nobody deserves to be hit with a tightly wound object intentionally by someone throwing 100 miles an hour. It's not okay. It's not okay. Oh, man, but he shut up my pitcher. He pimped a home run. Well, don't give up a home run, moron. Can you imagine if dudes in the NFL are taking cheap shots because someone, scored a touchdown and taunted a DB or something? Like, what are we talking about? Because you hot dog in the end zone? What? Can we have fun here? What's the problem? What if in the NBA you had dudes cutting out dudes' legs, rolling into their ankles intentionally because someone hit a 3 and did a celebration? What are we talking about here? Oh, show up my pitcher. I'm going to hit you. Oh, okay. Clowns is what they're all clowns. All of them. I love baseball. But baseball's unwritten rules are stupid. It might have made sense in 1863. It doesn't make sense in the year 2020. Be done with it. All right, it's After Further Review. Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air. Where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. Or online at onehourbr.com. Spell it out, ONE, onehourbr.com. They are hiring. at River City's 1 Hour Air. So if you're looking for work, check out our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air. Also, AC tune-up and rejuvenation, $97. I mean, I know we're through July already, but you know the hot weather isn't going anywhere. Not for another couple months. Take care of that Home Central AC. Come out, get your unit clean, tuned up, running efficiently. Don't let a small problem become a very big, very expensive problem. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. All right, let's knock out a quick break. A lot to get into. Ed Orgeron was at the Rotary Club earlier today. Sean Payton previewed Saints camp, and the ACC, if you haven't heard the news, has gone to a conference-only +1. The SEC expected to adopt a conference-only. Will it be a +1? That could cause a fraction between the SEC and ACC if they do. Talk about it next, AFR.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. Start your virtual visit today at Auctioner Health.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, rolling along here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, and glad to have you spending part of your day with us. Remember, you can watch us on CST and on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. So get there, watch the show. If you're outside of the CST watch area, you can still watch us on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, and you can get clips of this show on the After Further Review YouTube channel. So get there, subscribe, and hit the bell. Subscribe and hit the bell. You're preemptive on the bell.
I keep forgetting it's not when the old system used to be when you let your finger up, it would ring or it would do the command. And this one is when as soon as your finger goes down, it's on it.
Hey, Paul. He's blaming the software.
Always the software.
Always. Last guy blamed the software. Saw what happened to him, didn't you?
Last guy wasn't wrong.
Saw what happened to him, didn't you? Drew Brees is trying to stop licking his fingers. You got a problem licking your fingers?
Can't stop.
All the time. I do lick my finger before I touch paper to separate them. You do that?
I make it a point to not do it for this show, but yeah, regularly on my show when I'm going through my stuff.
Well, it's okay if you do it for this show. Just clean the board when you leave, like we all do.
No, I'm saying when I distribute the audio sheet in your lives, I try not to lick my fingers to touch the papers that y'all are going to touch.
Did you clean your hands before you licked the paper?
Yes.
Okay.
Clean my hands all the
or
time.
before you distributed the paper. I'd be good with that then. That's all. Drew Brees licks his fingers all like he's done this his whole career, right? I mean, before he does this weird thing where he like he does his shoulder pad like that. You know what I mean? He has this weird awkward like to adjust his shoulder pad, and he licks his fingers like before every snap. And he told Greg Wyshynski of ESPN.com that this is really hard for him. He said the whole point is to give your hands a little tackiness so you get a better grip of the ball. I've actually been thinking about it a lot lately. I've started throwing again to avoid it. It's been so habitual for so long, you don't realize how much you touch your face and lick your fingers until COVID hit. Well, Brees has traditionally licked his fingers before every single snap. Former NFL tackle Ryan Harris said of Brees licking his hands, quote, "It's so gross even when there isn't COVID. And just look where he puts his hands that play before, the play after. The play he's running when he licks his fingers. Do the math. Honestly, there are a lot of everyday, don't give it a second thought things people are going to have a second thought about. And all these years, all these pass attempts, I mean, almost 100,000 yards passing, over 70,000 yards passing. All these plays run, all these fingers licked. And somehow Drew Brees has avoided serious illness. You want to know why? Our bodies have incredible defense mechanisms. Like, really, the human body is kind of an amazing thing. Like, it's built to protect us from destruction. Like, you get hurt, it heals itself. You get something in there, it has things in there that, like, attack viruses and whatnot to kill it, to heal you. Like, by this logic, Ryan Harris, if Drew Brees licking his fingers is gross, think about touching doorknobs. Think about sinks. Think about the little credit card pad at the grocery or wherever you go when you have to hit the yes or the no. Like, think about how many people have come before and will come after you that have touched that pad that hasn't been cleaned. What's your cell phone? My cell phone is sitting on this desk right here. Do you realize T-Bob sits right here? Who knows what's on the back of my phone now? I'm going to hold it, put it up to my ear. Our bodies are built to defend us from things like that. Lick away, Drew. Sean Payton met with the media today. Yesterday it was Mickey Loomis. What's really interesting, listen, Sean Payton went through all the COVID stuff. And yes, that's relevant. But I was more interested in hearing him talk about some of the actual on-field stuff that we'll see in camp. He did go through what the schedule is going to be like, though, for the next 2 weeks.
Well, the week we're in this week is just strictly COVID testing. Next week, after the physicals are taking place over the weekend, next week we move into an acclimation period where they're lifting weights, they're running, they're meeting, and we'll have a series of walkthroughs.
So they've got the next 2 weeks planned out. You've obviously got a shortened off season with no preseason games. So will that affect what they can install?
Well, we've had shortened off seasons before. I mean, when the players were locked out in 2011, there were no off season. And guys came back in good shape. I expect our players to be in very good shape when we see them. Their physical conditioning and their physical preparation should not have been affected during this. We made a point early on to tell them that we weren't going to, regardless of what happened, we kind of saw ahead of time that there wasn't going to be a chance for mini camp or OTAs. We were able to have meetings like everyone else, but I expect the players to be in outstanding shape. It's their livelihood.
And if you remember 2011, which he referenced, the Saints had the most organized player-led workouts. Drew Brees was kind of the rallying guy behind all of that, and the Saints went and had arguably the best team in their franchise history in 2011. Now, it ended awfully in San Francisco that day, but they were still sensational that year. And I would expect, with so many veterans and such a core of the team that's familiar with how the Saints do things, this offseason is going to be easier for a team like New Orleans instead of a team that's had massive turnover. Even a team, I hate to say it, like the Bengals, who are going to have a giant change there with Joe Burrow coming in as their quarterback. And then obviously, I think the starting point, because he's the highest drafted player, is what do you do with Cesar Ruiz? Is he going to play center? Is he going to play guard? Do you kick McCoy out? How do you handle that? Here with Sean Payton.
Look, we'll meet on that, visit with them, practice, rotate those guys, move them around. We'll have a plan, and I'm sure by the time we start the regular season, we'll have ironed out some of those question marks, and that's just one of many.
I was a little surprised that Sean was more evasive there. He did say they'll rotate them, but if you don't believe Sean Payton already has his plan in place for how they're going to approach that, you're kidding yourself. He's had, since the draft, he's had 4 months to effectively decide what they were going to do with that position. Even prior to that, understanding that they were going to be in the market for an interior lineman, be a guard or center, so they could kick McCoy out to guard potentially. He knew and knows how they're going to handle that. He just wasn't disclosing it there. They'll rotate him. We will ultimately find out as camp moves along. We won't have the benefit of watching preseason games. But then again, sometimes preseason games can be misleading. Because last year in the preseason, they had gone and spent money on Nick Easton. Remember, Max, if you remember, Max Unger very abruptly retired. They were already through free agency. Options were limited. They go spend money to get Easton from Minnesota. Easton comes in. They go through training camp. They go through the preseason games, and Nick Easton stunk. He stunk. And the feeling was, oh, crap, you spent money on him. That's why McCoy had to go start at center right away. I'm sure they'd have preferred to play him at guard, but he had to start at center. But then Larry Warford was out of shape, got hurt. Pete rotated a bit as well. He got hurt. Nick Easton had to play. And he played really well. Like, exponentially better than anyone expected based on his preseason performance. So, like, you've got that option there. And I know Sean Payton, like, he's had since then, essentially, to know what his plan was going to be here with this offseason and how they were going to handle this with McCoy and Ruiz. So they've done Zoom meetings. They've had a lot of, interaction that way. See how they do when they get on the field. But Sean Payton's got a plan for how they're going to handle this, aside from just Zoom meetings. Zoom meetings.
That virtual Zoom, bro.
You owe me 2 more.
And that virtual Zoom, bro. And that virtual Zoom, bro.
Never caught up. Mickey Loomis also would not answer a question about Alvin Kamara's contract. I will remind you of this. Joey Bosa just got paid yesterday. It is not unprecedented for deals to get done on the precipice of training camp. Last year, Michael Thomas got his record-breaking $100 million contract on July 31st. We're still 2 days away from that anniversary. So it would not surprise me at all if the Kamara deal got done this week. The Saints have $9 million in cap space. It's not to say you have to spend it, but why wouldn't you if you have it? And that said, there's been a giant spacing of how the Saints have handled these deals. Mike Thomas got his extension on July 31st. Cam Jordan's most recent extension was on June the 11th. Teron Armstead's extension back in 2016 was on May the 30th. Brees' last extension, the 2-year, $50 million contract he signed in 2018, that was March 13th. So from March 13th all the way up to July 31st, they've gotten these deals done. It's just kind of a feeling out process, and both sides negotiate until you feel like you got an agreement on terms and you're ready to make a deal. So we'll see if they announce a Kamara deal, an extension this week, or if they elect to wait until next year in the offseason to do it. But the problem with that is next year, you're going to have to break the bank for Ryan Ramczyk and for Marshawn Lattimore. They'll both be heading into their 5th year. You could let them play their rookie contract out, but do you really want to get into a bidding war for those guys when they hit free agency in 2 cycles? I don't think so. So get the deal with Kamara done now. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll shift gears, come back, let's hear some of what Ed Orgeron had to say today at the Rotary Club meeting as LSU continues their football school with camp a little more than a week away. Stick around, it's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Insurance Network of Louisiana because I love helping our audience save money. I love getting emails from our listeners saying, Matt, I called Insurance Network of Louisiana, and they did exactly what you said they were going to do. They were able to save me money. They were great people. Or I'll sometimes I'll get emails from people say, Matt, you were right. Called Insurance Network of Louisiana. They didn't try to sell me anything. They said stick with the coverage I had because they couldn't do better. That happens. I got this from Lance. Lance Richard sent me a note. Said, Matt, what's the insurance company you mentioned on air? We're looking around. We want to see what they can do for us. I get those messages all the time from people. It's Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450, 293-0450, 293-0450. Stop overpaying to be underinsured. Stop assuming you have the best coverage and you're paying a fair price. Let Insurance Network of Louisiana confirm it for you. It is painless and it is free. They are not going to try to sell you something. I promise. 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
With Miles Brennan, I want Miles to be the best Miles. That's all. You know, it would be unfair to compare him to Joe every time he takes a snap. I told him this: if you like Joe, I won't be disappointed. I promise you.
Ed Orgeron today at the virtual Rotary Club of Baton Rouge meeting. It's always the last Wednesday in July, the last Wednesday before LSU opens up fall camp, that the LSU head football coach traditionally appears at the Baton Rouge Rotary Club meeting. That was today, but it was virtual for Ed Orgeron, and he spent his allotted time answering a lot of questions, going through depth chart and a lot of things that we've heard as of this point. But, of course, the biggest question is going to be about quarterback, and you heard Ed Orgeron there kind of joke about not comparing Miles Brennan to Joe Burrow, but that he wouldn't be upset if he ended up being like Joe Burrow. I think everyone would certainly endorse that. But here was Ed Orgeron elaborating on the quarterbacks that he's got.
Everybody wants to know about the quarterback. Let me say this to you. I believe in Miles Brennan. I believe he has tremendous talent. I believe that he's going to have a great year. Backing up Miles will be Max Johnson and T.J. Finley. I really believe those two guys are very, very talented and going to push Miles. This is an open competition. Miles is going to have to earn the competition, but earn the winning job. But I think he's going to do it. But that doesn't mean the other guys couldn't beat him out. So it's going to be great to see in August.
Certainly understand a coach not wanting to anoint a player and saying that the other guys could beat him out. But realistically, I think we all understand not only is it Miles Brennan's job, it's his team right now as well. He's going to be expected to be that leader, that guy who takes charge of this entire organization on the field. And by all accounts, he's done that from the player-led workouts that they've had over the weekends and throughout the offseason workouts and getting himself physically ready for this. It's a great point of intrigue, and I know it's something we've discussed, but it bears mentioning again. LSU is the defending national champion, and they just had one of the biggest outliers in the history of college football, literally. A program that for more than a decade was known for ground and pound throwback football, and then not only did they abruptly change, but they abruptly changed and set every record. Literally scored more points in a season than any offense in the history of college football. It wasn't just that they were good, they were literally the best ever. So no one's expecting that again, but at what point in that gap do you settle? Is it somewhere in the middle, or is it higher? I think, which is what everybody's certainly hoping for here. Ed Orgeron also talked about the tight ends. He spent a good part of this offseason pumping up Arik Gilbert, who last week won the Gatorade National High School Player of the Year Award, Male High School Athlete Player of the Year Award. But Ed was pretty clear. Gilbert's not the only tight end they got.
At tight end, we have the Gatorade Player of the Year. I think the last time we signed the Gatorade Player of the Year is when we signed Leonard Fournette. This is the first time that a tight end has won the Gatorade Player of the Year, and Arik Gilbert. He's a tremendous young man from Georgia, tremendous talent. We're going to play him at tight end, wide receiver. You're going to be excited to see him play. He's about 6'5", 250, very athletic, runs like a wide receiver. We got Torrey Carter, Jamal Pettigrew, Cole Taylor's our first player from Colorado we signed. Cole is about 6'6", 220 right now. And I think these guys are going to have an excellent year. And then we got a great transition from baseball, and Nick starts. Nick is about 6'5", 220. He's going to play tight end. So I think we're better at tight end than we had in a long time.
I mean, last year it was Thad Moss and a lot of guys behind him that were injured. Pettigrew spent the season injured, and you played Stephon Sullivan kind of as a flex tight end, but you're deep there now. I mean, Arik Gilbert is a hybrid and a really talented one, but you heard him go through the list there with Pettigrew and with Cole Taylor and then with Storrs coming over from baseball. And you got Aaron Moffitt there as well, who's contributed at tight end. So you are deep at that position. On the other side of the ball, Orgeron has talked about this ever since Dave Aranda left and he brought in Bo Pelini. But it's so clear that Ed was not happy with the defense a year ago. And it's not to say Dave Aranda didn't do great things at LSU. He did. But there were also a lot of things with which Ed was not happy defensively. And that was part of the reason for this change. And he talked about it again today.
Yeah, we're always looking to get better. We'll analyze our season. I think one of the things that we need to get better last year is defense. We didn't play good defense. And that's why Bo's here. I do believe that we're able to use our athletes more, play better defense, hold there's too many points scored on us last year. And I think that you're going to see a big improvement then.
The reason Bo's here is we didn't play good defense last year. You won the national championship, but you didn't play good defense last year. And listen, early in the season, I mean, we can point them out. At Vanderbilt, first play of the game, give like a 40-yard run. I mean, that was a back and forth in the first quarter where it was like you couldn't stop them. And they had some injuries. Of course, Texas in that second half, nobody could get a stop. Second half against Bama, they came roaring back because you couldn't get stops. Do we need to talk about the second half of Ole Miss? You get it. But look, the point is a year ago when the defense needed the bow its neck and play well, they did. And they played their best ball late. They dominated A&M. They dominated against Oklahoma, which was a high firepower offense. And then you did enough against Clemson, obviously, with your offense getting going the way you did to win that game. And I mean, you had 4 guys taking around 1 from your defense, or 3 guys taking around 1 from your defense. But look, man, I'm, if nothing else, really intrigued. If I had to say my biggest questions, but my most intriguing, like when they hit the field, the things I want to see. I want to see Miles, right? I want to see him throw. I want to see if this offense can keep a breakneck pace and still score a bunch. But I am so interested to see how this transition to the 4-3 works. Because Ed's bought in, Bo is certainly bought in, and I think there's spots where LSU has plenty enough talent to do it and do it well. But I also think there's giant question marks. Like, can your gigantic defensive lineman play in a 4-3? Do you have enough talent at 4-3 defensive end? Like these guys that were bred for a 3 and recruited for a 3-4 now switching positions, can they do it? That's fascinating. I mean, there's no doubt you've got star ratings and all that sort of stuff. Plenty of talent on the roster. Is it enough? And one more. Ed Orgeron talking about pushing trucks and lifting logs and stuff like that, what these guys did to work out during quarantine.
Our guys went home for about 11 weeks. Our coaches were home, but we worked on Zoom meetings like we're doing now. We gave them tips and reminders daily. Our guys were doing the drills on their own. Some of them were hitting the back of their shed, making dents in their shed, getting their mama mad at them. Some of them pushing trucks uphill, bench pressing logs, whatever it took, our guys did it.
And apparently they're in fantastic shape. They're going through football school right now. On August the 7th, LSU hits the practice field for real with fall camp. And it'll be interesting to see what that schedule looks like. If you're just joining us, you haven't heard yet today, the ACC has announced a conference-only +1. Ross Dellinger of SI is reporting the SEC ADs approved a conference-only. 10-game conference-only. The university presidents will need to ratify that, but that would mean, if I'm reading this correctly from Ross, that the SEC is prepared to move forward without its +1 non-conference game. That means you would eliminate Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Clemson, South Carolina, Kentucky, Louisville, Auburn, North Carolina, Ole Miss, Baylor, and LSU, Texas. Tomorrow will be a very interesting day to see how that president's vote goes. We'll wrap up with Otter Locks and what we learn next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital. brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org, Baton Rouge General Hospital. They've done amazing work amid the pandemic. Our friends over at the Baton Rouge General Hospital have kept their word to keep the Baton Rouge community safe, and they've bent over backwards to do it. In every possible resource they have, they've allocated to make sure that we were safe amid the COVID-19 pandemic. brgeneral.org to learn more about virtual visits. brgeneral.org to find out more about their ER at the Mid-City location reopening. brgeneral.org to find out about the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital, which is coming soon. They've also got their mobile app, Baton Rouge General mobile app. You can download it today. Express care locations, wait times, surgery fast pass, mobile check-in for your procedure so you can have a contactless experience. It's all there for you. Courtesy of the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, let's find out what to bet on tonight.
Otter Locks.
Otter Locks. All right, we head out to somewhere. Can you please bring up the Otter? I lost my call screen. Otter, Lithuania.
Lock of the week. Good night last night, Matthew. Very good night.
Did you hit on Pittsburgh?
We sure did. How about a little payback?
Oh, hot dog!
How about a little payback, too? A late inning, fourth run in deficit. Just like we lost one in ninth inning on Monday night. Turned it around, went 8-6 last night. Hit a big dog in Toronto, 4-2, plus 3 units for the day. Mincy Man was plus 3 units today. On fire over here at Ruby Creole tonight. But nobody's as hot as our one of our horse racing contributors, Rob Henney of EastCoastHorseRacing.com. He gives out free days for our listeners from time to time. He hit his last 6 races at Saratoga today. $8 bets. Been to pick 3. He hit 4 in a row. Paid 104, 159, 178, and 192. And a $16 bet. Pick 5. Paid $4,113.
Guys,
Rob Henney with a monster day at Saratoga today.
We're giving away money. Ott is giving away money. You got to be listening to Game Time with Jimmy. He's printing cash. How are you not taking his bets?
We're like Robin Hood. Steal it from the rich and give it to the poor.
I love
there
it, man.
Go.
All right, so what are we betting on tonight?
Tonight, we're going with the Atlanta Braves. Mike Soroka, 0 earned runs in his first start last Thursday in a no decision against the Mets. Morton was hit hard. Now, these pitchers, these starting pitchers, like a lot of fantasy players can tell you, they will fluctuate up and down from year to year. Morton, maybe some caution signs in the opener. We're going to take Atlanta minus a very small number, minus 112 at home with Mike Soroka, second-year guy, over the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
That's exciting, Otter. Paul O'Neill over here, noted Braves fan, fired up that you're taking the Bravos tonight.
Man, I love that. 40-1 on him to win the Cy Young. Only problem is he's matched up with the ace, being the ace for the Atlanta Braves. But he's really, really good, man. Also, the later tonight, the Dodgers and Astros. How about a little fire there, Matthew?
Man, I'll tell you what. Otter, I don't know. You and I have never talked about this. It's nauseating to watch these pansies throw baseballs at each other. Like kick rocks. Like, go home. I don't need your unwritten rule. I love baseball, but baseball's unwritten rules are nauseating.
There you go. Hey, Matt, I heard you talking about scheduling and stuff. A lot of things breaking today with the ACC and the SEC. You mentioned, who plays 11 Power 5 opponents just about every year?
Who?
USC. They play non-conference games. They play Notre Dame every year.
Yeah.
Like Texas, home and home. They play Boston College, home and home. They played Alabama a couple of times last. They play 11 Power 5 games just about every year. Little nugget for you.
All right, I'm looking up. What's their schedule? Well, no, because they had New Mexico this year and
Alabama and Notre Dame.
And Alabama and Notre Dame in the 9 conference. Okay, so are they the only one then? Because I can't imagine there's another Pac-12 or Big Ten school that's scheduling 2 Power 5 non-conference.
UCLA will do it every now and then. They will, but no, it's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
And you have to go with the ones that are playing non-conference games like the Big 12, the Big 10, or the But, hey, what about just what's missing with the ACC? The ACC is putting out that they want to keep their 4 SEC matchups. South Carolina, Clemson. Clemson people think they're playing. Their +1 is South Carolina, but nothing for the SEC yet, huh?
Well, the SEC, apparently the AD said 10. That's it. The 10 conference and the university presidents are going to vote tomorrow on it, so we should get that finale tomorrow. All right,
So,
Otter, we got to bounce, man. Game time with Jimmy Ott from Rouge Creole in Perkins Road. Y'all get by and see the Otter. They're coming up here and get out of here. Lock of the week. Jimmy Ott. All right, it's after further review. What did we learn today, Brain? What did you learn?
I learned that Sean Payton's media availability still sounds like he's calling from the cockpit of a plane.
What's up with that? I don't understand.
You're the NFL.
Teleconference. I mean, come on. Like, can we get someone on a landline somewhere? So don't they know that we're going to pillage all of that audio and repurpose it here? Paul, what did you learn today?
I learned Drew Brees is trying to stop licking those fingers.
I know. Feel bad for him. I say lick away, Drew. Lick away. Are you kidding me? If you're playing, you're COVID negative, right? Theoretically, you should be able to go French kiss an offensive lineman and he wouldn't get COVID because you don't have COVID. You're COVID negative. What's the big deal here? Lick away. Drew, by the way, all the receivers that are going to touch the ball after you throw it, all the receivers are wearing gloves anyway, right?
What'd you learn?
I learned that no one at LSU has blinked all offseason. Nobody blinked. And they should all go see the Williamson Eye Center, the dry eye center out there. Because if you don't blink, you can have some dry eyes. All right, we're getting out of here. Game time with Jimmy Ott's coming up next here in BR. Y'all have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Been telling you, Shawbills is hiring. At all of their locations, they are looking for employees, and they have 2 new locations coming in the greater Baton Rouge area at the end of 2020 and early 2021. They are trying to staff up now. So, if you want to work at the storefront, if you're a technician with any skill level, Shawbills wants to talk to you. ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com, or apply in person at any of their locations. They have some amazing employee benefits, like paid holidays. They offer health insurance with the employer participation in the premium payments. Dental, vision, supplemental insurance, paid time off 401k. ShawbillsTire.com. It's Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law office